Hey, Kaga, back again. Today we're going to discuss uh, Unity controversy again, and how a company is the terraria developers are donating to other search engines, seriously, other engines, in order to have options, basically. So let's dive into this article first. Terraria dev unequal. The hell is that word? I have no idea. It basically condemns Unity fee changes and donates over $200,000 to other game engines. Real Logic says this is a cautionary tale the industry will not soon forget. In protest of controversial changes to the fees associated with the Unity game engine, Terraria developer Real Logic plans to donate $100,000 each to two open source alternatives, with further monthly donations to follow going forward. Now, this is something I'm for. First of all, because it's good to have options, and what Unity pulled is just not acceptable. It forces developers in a tough situation, and that's not good. They had a good platform and they ruined it. So I support this, and those that can afford it, of course, to donate to other alternatives is great. And I like to see that Real Logic is doing so, because it's important to have alternatives going forward, because if you don't have any alternatives, and at some point Unreal is in such a high monopoly that you don't have nothing else but Unity, who is to say that they will not put into plan what they tried to do with this before? Once they have more of a monopoly on game engines, then who is to say that they're not gonna revert their choices? Unless they come with some sort of a complete and utter change to their policy system, like for example, if you have bought a license to Unity at this exact version, and no matter what changes they later on bring will not be affected, which they kinda had, but with a promise that no matter the changes they bring, they cannot touch your version. From the moment you got it, that's yours. That's it. They cannot touch it. Then maybe, with that assurance, Unity could start climbing back up. But until something really drastically changes, I support anyone who would do such a thing as to donate to other engines in order for developers to have a variety, not just Unity, because right now it's hurting Unity's bottom line. But once it doesn't, and maybe once there is not as much of an option but Unity anymore, then Unity will try to bring this thing back again, which it might very well happen. Unity lost good faith, and it's on them. Seeing people push back in this way is just great. The team at Real Logic has been watching the recent events surrounding Unity with both interest and sadness. The studio says in a statement on Twitter, the loss of a formerly leading and user-friendly game engine to the darker forces that negatively impact so much of the gaming industry has left us dismayed, to put it mildly. While we do not personally use Unity outside of a few elements on our console/mobile platforms, we feel like we cannot sit idly by as these predatory moves are made against studios everywhere. That's even better. They barely use Unity and they're doing this. Props to them. Like I say, I usually am not for companies going out and everything, because that infects the employees there more than it affects anyone else. But at this rate, the CEO needs to change, or the whole company needs to just go under. That is something that's quite frankly is unforgivable. The statement goes on to condemn Unity's recent actions in very explicit terms. More concretely, Realogic says it will donate 100,000 each to the open source Godot engine and FNA, with 1,000 monthly donations to both continuing in seeming perpetuity. Terraria is one of the most successful indie games of all time, so devs certainly have a bit of cash to burn. I not recently, a while back played a game that was made with the Godot engine, and it was nice. Didn't have really much issues once they fixed the port that I was playing on Switch. So, if you missed the controversy up to this point, Unity is a game engine, essentially the underlying software used to develop games, that has come to be one of the most popular options on the market, particularly for indie devs. The engine powers everything from Pokemon Go to Slay the Spire, so when Unity proposed changes that would include a fee to developers every single time a game was installed, the backlash was swift and loud. Unity now says it's making changes to policy, but hasn't detailed what those changes are just yet. Yeah. Probably nothing good with the changes. And there was also a few exemptions, like charities would be exempt from the install and stuff like that, and like pirated copies of the game, but it's extremely difficult to differentiate between a pirated one and a legitimate copy. So how would they plan to do that is a very good question. And the biggest issue might be the fact that well, it is predatory to begin with, but secondly, there was no warning or anything. It's just like, this is gonna be it, deal with it. And they don't even detail how it's gonna work or anything with the installs, so it's kinda iffy on that part. And there was an article I read into a bit. I don't have it here to pull up, so this is gonna be from my memory. So there was also these two charities that apparently, I don't remember the charity names, but one was something with game related charity. Those in Unity's eyes were not charities, so now begs the question, what in their eyes is a charity? Is it like, if a charity doesn't have enough downloads, we're gonna let it pass, and if it has enough and we can make quite decent cash, then that charity is not considered a charity? But like I said, don't have the article to pull up, so cannot really give you straight up information, only what I remember roughly. So we condemn and reject the recent EOS fee changes proposed by Unity and the underhanded way they were rolled out. Realogic says in today's statement, the flippant manner with which years of trust cultivated by Unity were cast aside for yet another way to squeeze publishers, studios and gamers is the saddest part. That this move was wholly unnecessary pushes things into the tragedy category, a cautionary tale the industry will not soon forget. The Unity changes forced one studio to abandon its free-to-play plans just days before launch. There we go. This does not only affect the developers but also the consumer, because developers need to pay higher prices, would mean the product will cost more, would also mean the consumer would have to sacrifice more to get the said product. Or, like in this case mentioned, some that were planned to be a free-to-play model changed into probably buy-to-play or even subscription type model. Because with the Unity charge system, there is no way you can upkeep games unless you are household native, so to speak. Because if you are a small indie, that ain't gonna fly. You don't have the cash to just let it be free and you pay Unity for per install. And yes, they built trust over years upon years, which they crashed down instantly with this action alone. Trust is hard to earn, losing it is easy. And once you do something like this, getting back the trust from the people that you had before is gonna be even more difficult than when you started out. But that will be all for me today. I'll see you guys next time.